Good morning and welcome to Reno Buddhist Center. We're so happy to see you this morning and see all of you in virtual land. Thank you for tuning in and being here. So, for those of you who are tuning in, you found our live stream page, and the Shoshinge book is on there for chanting. And we will begin with our 3 homages: the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. All of our chants have been recorded so that there's no live chanting in the Hondo. But if you're at home, please chant your little hearts out. That's totally wonderful. Chant for all of us. When we're in here, we kind of do what we call mind chanting. So you can kind of chant along in your mind and absorb the positive energy that is created through these chants. So Shinran Shonin, our lineage founder on the wall there, wrote the Shoshinge, which is what we chant traditionally here at RBC, over 800 years ago. And he compresses his experiences and insights into one pleasantly long poem. And he is certainly still with us today. And we carried this tradition over 800 years. It's very important and very meaningful to us. In it, we realize that the principles guide our lives. It's more than just a journey, simple journey from cradle to grave. We are very much responsible for extending that energy from the past to the present and into the future. So we are very much an active part of that, and not only for our own lives, but for everyone we're connected to, all sentient beings. During the chanting, everyone is welcome and encouraged to offer incense. And we offer incense at this Oshoko altar right here. And you are more than welcome to do that. In the Hondo, we maintain a safe distance and just think of it as more of a walking meditation where you're just totally in the moment and you're offering a gift in gratitude to the infinite wisdom and compassion that is supporting us every day. And you might notice 2 other altars on our Naijin area. One is to Kannon Bodhisattva, the Bodhisattva of compassion. So you may offer a candle there if you want to. She hears the cries of our hearts. Anything that you might need, or maybe someone who's passed on, you can offer a candle there. There's also an incense offering at the Medicine Buddha altar for anyone who is needing some extra healing energy and healing in many ways, mental, emotional, physical, whatever that healing is, also for yourself. So those altars are available to you this morning. We offer incense in gratitude. It's a cleansing of the mind and body before receiving the Dharma message. So it's an important practice to just let go of yourself and offer gratitude and be ready to hear some very beautiful words of healing and meaning for your life. So, thank you very much, and we will begin with the 3 homages in just a minute. Buddham Saranam Gacchami Dhammam Saranam Gacchami
小信芸
奇妙無量寿如来南無不可思議光法蔵菩薩に寺財政自在応部所東県勝部浄土院国土人伝自然幕本流無常修正願長法慶右大偶勢高校士唯士小寿十世名称文字法不法無量無変更無限無体公園の少女歓喜知恵子不断難し無償子小日が交渉人生一切群上無交渉本願用語少女語死心信行願人上等学章大涅槃必死滅道願成就如来勝意公修正唯世弥陀本願会五辱惑自群上会往生如来如実言の本一年喜愛心不断本の特涅槃本性逆法さえ入領収死入会一に聖主信法上昇後異の水波無明湾本内心臓四分無上空心事心人天異名に幸福運無運無資源妙無湾逆心謙虚大狂気即応徴税合惑衆一切全幕本部人門親如来偶勢願運言広大小芸者全人用踏んだりけリーダー部本元年部邪変教な学習上信行十字人に南州市南昔インド祭天四論芸中華自治域市構想現代小構成小異妙如来本税大き釈迦如来ヨガ戦一種語如来天軸流重大事修道生執の財派無権先世大乗無常法召喚議事昭和幕賢治南行六六新行異行四行楽億年二打部本願自年即時入群上唯の上昇如来を応報大悲偶勢音天神菩薩増論世金妙無下本如来永州他天神寺高専王朝大聖願こういう本願力栄光異道群上小異心金入空毒大崩壊筆脈入大永州宗特使連芸造世界即昇進用法昇進有本の人間人図入賞自音自用芸本自動願両天使上高蘭上大さらい三蔵流士十条教本性専業気楽法天神菩薩音中芸法道因果見世願大芸猫有他力少女死因有心人惑前本部新人法承知承知即涅槃必死無量根陽道小宇宙上開復系同社継承論難症唯名浄土活入万全自力変言宗円満特語感染症三風三神慶音言
ゾマホメドヒインイショゾワクチグゼシアンヨカイショミョカ全道六名無償意公愛上三両逆枠公明明後家二年海入本願大地会両者小樹混合心狂気一年総合両位大と逆三人即所保証市上楽現鎮公開一大教返帰安養加二祭先祖終身反戦人法系二道小弁流極十悪人類勝負化薬剤非正集中煩悩証言追復権大義無権上昇が本次元空妙仏教連民全幕本部人新宗教書後編集戦弱本願具惑星現代生寺林伝芸形式上位少子即入弱上無意楽一心寺に納入仏教大義修士と上妻無縁極辱悪王族自主同心唯過心し
安にしくどくよの聖祭ども大心お女は
Good morning. Our reading for today is the Yoda Jiva Sutra, To the Warrior. Thus I have heard, On one occasion, the Buddha was staying near Rajagaha on Vulture Peak, and Yodajiva, warrior plus life, the headman, went to the Buddha and, on arrival, having bowed down to him, sat to one side. After sitting for some time, he said to the Buddha, "Teacher, I have heard it passed down by the ancient teaching lineage of professional warriors that when a warrior strives and exerts himself in battle, if others then strike him down and slay him, with the breakup of the body after death, he is reborn in the company of devas slain in battle. What does the Buddha have to say about that?" The Buddha sat quietly for some time and then spoke. "Headman, put that aside. Don't ask me that." A second time he asked, and the Buddha replied, "Enough, headman, put that aside. Don't ask me that." A third time Yodajiva pressed, "I have heard this said in our lore. Falling in battle, will I be reborn in the company of devas?" "Apparently, headman, I haven't been able to get past you by saying, 'Enough, headman, put that aside. Don't ask me that.' So I will simply answer you. When a professional warrior strives and exerts himself in battle, his mind is already seized, debased, and misdirected by the thought, 'May these beings be struck down, slaughtered, annihilated, destroyed.' If others then strike him down and slay him, he is reborn in the hell realm for those slain in battle. Even if he believed he would be reborn in the company of devas, that belief is a wrong view. There are two destinations for a person with this wrong view. I tell you, either hell or the animal birth." When this was said, Yodajiva sobbed and burst into tears. The Buddha said, "That is why I tried to get past you by saying, 'Enough, headman, put that aside. Don't ask me that.' I'm not crying, Lord, because of what the Buddha said to me, but simply because I have been deceived, cheated, and fooled for a long time." When Yodajiva gathered himself, he spoke. "Magnificent, teacher, magnificent. Just as if you were to place upright what was overturned, to reveal what was hidden, or to carry a lamp into the dark, in the same way the Buddha has so clearly made the Dharma plain." He bowed and said, "I go to the Buddha for refuge, to the Dharma, and to the Sangha for refuge. May the Buddha remember me as a follower who has gone to him for refuge from this day forward for all my life." We will now have a few minutes of meditation accompanied by music.
always amazed when I can do that without ripping my eyeglasses off, because through the day I usually throw my eyeglasses on the ground a couple times, taking the mask off. So, well, I probably should turn this on too, because I write down what I want to say, and then if I don't read it, then I don't end up covering the things I wanted to say. So, here we are together. This is very good. Once again, it's good to take some time and consider the Dharma. Consider the Buddha's teachings. Please know that everyone is welcome in the temple and streaming at home, receiving the Dharma there. New folks and longtime members, all are here to take steps on their spiritual path. So, we're glad you're here. Today's talk is about non-harming. The Buddha called that ahimsa. That's the Sanskrit word for non-harming. And the sutra I selected, I kind of feel like it's a little bit harsh, because that warrior had been told it would be fine. And it was not fine. When we harm others, there's grave damage done to ourselves as well. And we should be aware of that. So, what did the Buddha mean when he taught this ahimsa? Sometimes we try to bring these traditional words into the 21st century. So, we can think about its deeper meaning. In Sanskrit, ahimsa means not himsa. The it's just like apolitical, means not whatever you put after it. So, ahimsa. Himsa means harm or injury. It literally means the root is hims, and that means to strike. So, not hitting, don't hit people. And we hit people with lots of things. Obviously, sticks, I'm pointing to the drumstick, but other things too, emotions and ideas and even larger objects. So we should not do that. That's what the Buddha was teaching. We could stop right there because that's really the whole message, but we'll keep going. So, when we're hitting, we're kind of lashing out. So let's not lash out, is what the Buddha is teaching. Now, the word ahimsa does not contain a sense of the victim of the violence in it. So the Buddha would consider hitting a tree or hitting the wall or a flower pot smashed on the ground equally problematic. That affects us inside when we're enraged in that way. It's not skillful. It's less good. It will leave a trace, sometimes a big trace. So actions we do affect us inside, and that effect happens even before the visible damages can be tallied up. In the sutra today, the Buddha was a little hesitant to tell Yodajiva. His name, Yodajiva, means warrior life. So, I don't know if you've heard the word Yoda before, but I think maybe that's probably where it comes from. Anyway, Yodajiva asked kind of an awkward question. And the Buddha hesitated to tell him that killing with a mind contorted by destructive thoughts would lead to rebirth in hell. But it's the truth. And when pressed 3 times, take the hint, Yodajiva. The Buddha said, don't ask me that. 3 times. Well, maybe 2 times, and the 3rd time he answered. But kind of an amazing sutra. There is a profound spiritual damage done by committing violence. It inflicts deep karmic scars on the doer. Our word harm in English has roots in degrading, insulting, in grief. I think that's part of it. Ahimsa is the Buddhist teaching of nonviolence toward all beings. Ahimsa encourages compassion for all life, human and non-human. It also acknowledges that insult, pain, and grief that happens to the doer as well as the victim. We cannot harm another without being spiritually harmed ourselves. In the time of the Buddha, grand animal sacrifices were common at Hindu temples. To him, it was obscene. The destruction in the name of religion was an abomination. In many sutras, he systematically criticizes these large-scale sacrifices and advocates for harmlessness. In one verse, he said, "If priest who kills is counted innocent, then kill a priest in sacrifice. We see no cattle asking to be slain, a new and better life to gain. Rather they go unwilling to death. In vain struggles give a final breath. To hide the victim, the death blow, the Brahmins let choice words flow." Those are quite direct words from the Buddha. But his teaching against harm has deeper aspects. Many times in his discourses, the Buddha speaks of 4 kinds of people: those who harm themselves, those who harm others, those who harm both self and other, and those who harm no one. We all have met people who fall in those categories. The first group may inflict harm because of self-loathing or some kind of misguided sense that they deserve it. The second group are those that externalize their fear and rage and weakness, never seeing the interconnectedness of all being. The third group includes those who damage themselves and others. Most of us fall in that category. Because of ignorance and misunderstanding of the law of karma, we lash out like a bull in a china shop most of the time, without really any care for the harm that we do. And do we even notice the harm we do? The Buddha counsels us against being any of these people because of the lasting damage we incur. That last group, though, those who do no harm to themselves or others, the Buddha admires. They follow a way of compassion that he taught. Those who have created a habit of non-harming. The Buddha taught that our thoughts manifest in our speech, and our speech manifests in our actions, and our actions develop into habits. And the habits harden into our character. The easiest place to affect this chain is to watch our thoughts and take care and let them generate love and concern for all beings. Recently, the election has been, or is, some people seem confused about that, a source of many unfortunate thoughts. I think a lot of people have been stricken by those. People say stuff and they act out in this kind of time. Fully half of our country thinks the other half is gravely misguided. Now, please understand that they think you are also them. Does that make sense? This is an untenable situation. Wishing harm on a large group of people is not good. Not good for our hearts. Which I think each of us needs to put some effort, wholesome effort, into diffusing and resolving and letting this tension go. If you've caught yourself feeling aggressive or angry because of them, that is good. It's good because you noticed. Most folks don't. They don't even notice. It's just a natural thought. Those people are bad. Remember, if we hold thoughts of harm or harmful thoughts exist within us, then pathways leading to harmful words and actions and habits grow. It is a very slippery slope. Thoughts and experiences do literally transform our brain. They reshape it on the neurological level. These thoughts change who we are. Patterning and contemplating wholesome and kind thoughts create new pathways and strengthen those existing pathways for kindness in our brains. And that is what the Buddha recommends. For people who think that chanting and mantras are mumbo-jumbo or too hippy-dippy, think again. A well-recited chant can create a good habit of thought. It generates wholesome thoughts and connections in our mind. Chanting is an effective tool to pattern wholesome habits of mind and kind patterns of action. They can transform our thoughts, speech, actions, and ultimately the world. The Ahimsa meditation that we share to exclude harmful and violent thoughts is our metta practice. One of our members routinely turns to this chant when he feels a red rage building inside. This is the loving kindness practice that we finish each service with. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free from harm. May all beings receive boundless compassion. And may peace and harmony fill their heart. The Buddha recommended using this whenever we have one of those unfortunate feelings toward another, or toward a group of people, or toward some idea or something. It kind of washes it out of our heart, washes that harshness out of our heart. We say, may all beings. That includes yourself, your dear ones, the stranger on the street, the worm in the apple, the trees on Plumas Street. All beings. We cultivate harmlessness, ahimsa, toward them all. May all beings be free from harm. This intention rescues all beings from harm. The tall and the small, folks you like and those who don't. May all beings receive boundless compassion. This intention brings all beings into the warm embrace of great compassion. May peace and harmony fill their hearts. This intention offers the same wholesome mindset that you have just cultivated to the others, protecting them from the ravages of harm-filled thoughts and setting them on a wholesome course. To be happy, well, and safe. These most basic, inalienable rights of all beings. Too often, we wish these only for our favorite ones, what we call us. All, or just those maybe in the human realm. If all beings everywhere are happy and safe, then violence and harm will not arise. There would be no place. None of the causes and conditions for harm to arise would occur. It almost seems like a description of the Pure Land. But where do we start here? How can we live this most non-harming way possible? All sentient beings live by the same means, consuming others, doing some harm to others. We take from them food, shelter, and the energy of life. Every day, beings are bumping into other beings. They're smashing them, killing them, eating them, drinking them, wearing them, using them, walking on them, lying on them, destroying their homes. There is no real boundary to this karmic responsibility. We're all part of it. Shinran Shonin called it the crushing weight of evil karma. I was trying to kind of crush there as I said that. It radiates through the whole sparkling web of interconnected existence and interdependence that we're part of. Acknowledge this burden. Take responsibility for your actions. We're not advocating being perfect here. We're teaching mindfulness and sometimes something maybe we can call harm a little bit lessness. Shakyamuni Buddha was a most compassionate person. But he wore a robe made from cotton plants. He ate from a bowl that was made from a tree. And unintentionally, I'm sure he crushed the life out of many grasses and flowers and insects as he walked from place to place or sat on the lotus thrones that people would make for him. They'd use kusa grass and make a soft pad, but then they put lotus flowers around it because they loved the teacher so much. But those flowers were destroyed in that process. He asked that animals not be killed on his behalf, but he would eat meat if it was served at someone's home and it was offered out of graciousness to the host. With awareness and compassion, he took responsibility for these costs and redeemed them. That's living the middle way. We can do the same. We use our precious human life to acknowledge and repay the kindness and sacrifice of all beings who have willingly or unwillingly surrendered their lives so that we may live. The Buddha is encouraging us to harm less. We can take responsibility for the suffering of beings that feed us. This arouses a compassionate heart and loving mind every time we receive their gifts. Most of all, when you receive those gifts, feel gratitude. Feel appreciation for their sacrifice. Before we eat at the temple, we always say, "Itadakimasu." In Japan, that's a common, I would say grace, but it's not really grace, but okay, it's like that. Almost everybody says that before they eat. Even pretty rough people, like in a truck stop, you'll see them sit down, and just before they eat their soup, they say "Itadakimasu" really quick, and then, So we say that here. And it's out of respect for the living things that contribute to the meal. And so that's thanks to the plants and the animals and the people who grew the food and the people who brought it to us and the people who prepared it. It also gives thanks to anyone involved in that whole process. We mitigate in some way the harm that's done by our gratitude, by acknowledging and accepting that this harming is part of our being. Indra's vast web of interconnections makes us careful and sensitive to avoid harm. But also, the closeness of that web makes harming unavoidable. What can we do? Harming is a natural part of living. And we're living out the results of countless previous seeds planted karmically. So, the Buddha shows us that through mindfulness we can always moderate our thoughts, speech, and actions. When we think about something we don't like, with awareness we can curb any harmful thoughts that arise. If we don't like someone, we can de-energize those pathways of hurtful thoughts. When we speak, we can avoid harsh judgments. We can attribute kind motives, even to those who we oppose. We can use words that lessen the hold of harming and remove that habit. Even in our actions, we can calm and moderate our movements and avoid abruptness and harmful actions. This gets us in the habit of ahimsa. Let's try a brief thought exercise together. Remember, ahimsa is the removal of harm and violence from our mind and body. We can challenge ourselves to remove that violence and be loving kindness. The mind is our most powerful tool for spiritual growth. Everything begins here. I'll say the mind is here. It's between our heart and our head. If we plant a good seed of positive warmth and self-love, that seed can grow and reach others. Maybe soon, if we plant such a seed, we could look in the mirror and celebrate our gifts rather than pick at our little problems. So, for today, observe your thoughts and recognize that thoughts lead to actions, and remove the harmful ones from everyday life by starting with our mind. We'll plant the thought, you are beautiful. You are whole as you are and perfectly imperfect. So, we'll try to plant that thought. Briefly close your eyes and say to yourself, I'm okay, just as I am. I'm okay, just as I am. I'm okay, just as I am. And now sit with the feelings that come up. Okay, you can open your eyes. When we say that, some feelings come up. And sometimes they're complicated. But if we let some of that harshness that we hold toward ourselves go, then where it bubbles out at others, that will melt away as well. So, and what did this Buddha hear? Amida Buddha, the Buddha of infinite wisdom and compassion. The vows of Amida are clear. He dedicated his great practice to aiding struggling beings. We are okay, just as we are, harmfulness and all. This is not because Amida condones violence. It is because the violent ones are most in need of acceptance and support, more than anyone. This is the ultimate resolution of the puzzle of harming, how to pursue the ideal of ahimsa. We contemplate this ideal, we accept our limitations, and we are grateful for the deep compassion of the universe that is there for us just the same. When Shinran's teacher, Honen, behind me, there are the 7 teachers that in our lineage, and Honen is the one with the white background here. Genku was his Dharma name, but his more common name is Honen. When Honen was a boy, his father was a samurai, kind of a pretty high up in a regional area, almost like a chief of police, you might say. He had a job of keeping order in things. Well, his father's name was Tokikuni. Tokikuni was assassinated in front of Honen when Honen was a boy. Honen held his dying father in his arms, and he promised to his father that he would take revenge on the Akashi who did this. And his father said, these were his father's last words: "If you take revenge on Akashi, his children will take revenge on your children. And there is no way to cease the anger and hatred from generation to generation. You must learn the Buddha Dharma and find a way to overcome the cycle of revenge." That's why Honen was a priest. Ordained at the age of 15, Honen studied and practiced various paths of Buddhism. For almost 30 years, he searched for that answer that his father set him looking for. And then, when he encountered the writing of Zendo, the Chinese Pure Land master, he found the answer, the path of the Nembutsu, Namu Amida Butsu. This can liberate everyone equally from harsh thoughts or harsh feelings in our heart. When we take refuge in the infinite and compassion and wisdom of the universe, a universe that supports and cares for us, irregardless of our mind state. In the Nembutsu path, all sentient beings can experience the Buddha's wisdom and compassion. We can feel protected, warmed, and nurtured. For those unloved and uncared for, who have suffered from the blind passions of anger, hatred, greed, the urge to harm others and act out, to take revenge, might feel normal. Rooted in fear and isolation, that urge to degrade and diminish ourselves grows. It is rooted in the feeling that we lack something. It may be material or a spiritual lack, but that feeling and the selfish judgment spurs us to act out and harm others and take what is not ours. But when we feel safe and held, never to be let go, we can become aware of the suffering and pain arising from our harmful actions. Amida's compassion embraces our anger and hatred. In this way, embraces. It holds us. Like when a child is acting out, and you just hang on to them and hold them. It's not a forceful thing, it's a loving thing, but it contains their rage until it can be spent. That embrace transforms them. And Amida's embrace transforms all of us and gives us insight. And it can even convert our evil karma into virtue, which is a weird thing that we could talk about some other time. Shinran says that the ice of my evil karma turns into the water of my enlightenment. The essence of the Nembutsu teaching of Pure Land Buddhism has deep roots in this idea of ahimsa. Practicing the Nembutsu path means practicing ahimsa. Shinran Shonin made this wish for peace in the world. Those who feel uncertain should say the Nembutsu, aspiring first for the birth of their own understanding, the Buddha land. Those who feel that their own birth is completely settled, mindful of the Buddha's benevolence, should say the Nembutsu in gratitude with the wish, may there be peace in the world and may the Buddha's teaching spread. Opportunities for ahimsa are subtle and ever-present. Ahimsa can be as easy as giving the other driver the benefit of the doubt on your way to work instead of cussing them out. Ahimsa is looking in the mirror and saying, "You're looking good today." Ahimsa is as easy as remembering that all beings everywhere have the right to be happy and free. Cultivating ahimsa requires mindfulness. Ahimsa grows into reality when we start to think that way. We can harm less. It's easy. That is good for the world and good for us. So, one more time, we could say together, please make gasho. May you be happy. May you be free from harm. May you receive boundless compassion. And may peace and harmony fill your heart. Namanda. 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 Thank you for your kind attention. We usually finish our service by sharing our Reno Buddhist Center theme song. It was chosen by Reverend Alicia from a cowboy movie, but it still has important Pure Land meaning. So, Maestro, if you will, how do we do this? Oh, it's a recording. Ah, how clever. We will not sing aloud together, but we can sing in our minds together.
Away, away, come away with me, where the grass grows wild and the winds blow free. Away, away, come away with me, and I'll build you a home in the meadow. Come, come, there's a wondrous land with a hopeful heart and the willing hand. Come, come, there's a wondrous land where I'll build you a home in the meadow. The stars, oh how bright and far, on a world of pure and eternal law. The stars, oh how bright they'll shine on the home we will build in the meadow. Come, there's a wondrous land with a hopeful heart and a willing hand. Come, there's a wondrous land where I'll build you a home in the meadow.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you all so much for coming. I have